사실 커리어로 봤을 때는 김명훈 선수가 당연히 이제 첫 번째로 올라갈 가능성이 아주 높다고 생각을 하지만 그래도 이제 환경이 바뀌었고 그다음에 이제 연습 상황에 따라서 경기 결과는 달라질 수 있는 거니까요.
네, 맞습니다. 구성훈 선수 준비가 됐고 김명훈 선수도 준비가 끝났습니다. 이 두 선수의 경기 16강 C조거든요. 미스의 첫 게임 가보도록 하겠습니다.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is time for the round of 16. I was just fixing a minor crisis in the chat with our lovely translator getting
자, 경기
banned
시작됐습니다.
by the
신보이는
spam
셋이 노란색
filter.
저그가 김명훈 선수입니다. 이번
fantastic.
픽스스타리그 성적 3승 한 번도 패한 적이 없어요.
So,
성적도
it
워낙
is
좋고
time
프로리그 성적 안에서는 이제
We are
9승
halfway
9패인데
through the round of
픽스스타리그
16
안에서는 완벽한
and,
경기력 보여주고
and today
있었기
we're gonna have
때문에
ZerO
김명훈
versus
선수가
HiyA,
강력한
followed by
우승보다라고 이제 이야기를 해도 될
versus Tyson.
만큼의
Yes, that's
포스를
right.
보여주고 있고요. 구성훈 선수는
playing in the
픽스스타리그
group.
성적 3승
Looks
2패죠.
like
어렵사리 올라왔습니다.
right
근데 뭐
side.
저그전을 워낙 잘하고 8차
will be
아이템
on
베이스
the
리그
left
결승전 올랐던 준우승하긴 했지만 그래도 멋진 모습 보여줬었거든요.
그렇습니다. 결승전까지
That's
올라갔었다라는
like
것 자체만으로도 이
126
구성훈 선수가 이
103
스타리그
losses.
안에서는 실력을 증명했다고 볼 수가
As
있는
far as I remember,
거니까요.
HiyA was
자, 김명훈
the
선수가
runner-up
이제
in the
미리
last SSL.
골도 나가고
Please
있죠.
correct me if I'm wrong. I
네,
believe he
한 가지
played the
말씀드리자면
finals
지금
versus
김태희
Killer.
선님이 그 다른
I'm
스케줄이
not
있어서
100% sure.
조금
but I'm pretty
한 두
sure.
번째 세 번째 경기 때
Anyway.
아니면 못 오실 수도 있습니다.
We had a pretty fast round coming out
그렇습니다.
here.
이제
It's pretty
급작스러운
interesting from
스케줄
ZerO.
때문에 이제
This is a two-player map with lots of
둘이 이제
cheesy
진행을 하게 된
shenanigans
점
possible,
양해 부탁드립니다.
like we saw on
네,
Thursday. I hope
참고로 하나
you don't mind if I
말씀드리자면
spoil
구성훈
those names,
선수는
but
6차
we did see
BA 리그
BSU
때도
Proxygate mined on this map, which was hilarious.
주로는 좀 빠르죠.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to turn the Koreans down. My bad. That's my bad.
직전차로는 이런 선택 자체가 쉽지 않은 선택인데 일단은 상대방이 전략적인 수를 꺼내들 가능성이
Okay, is it fixed?
미스트 아니겠습니까? 전략적인
Is it
수를
fixed?
내지
I completely
않기
forgot.
위해서
Sorry. I'm running right now on
라는 생각이 들고요.
on basically 3 hours of sleep. So this is not optimal casting conditions at all. So I hope. Well, if anything goes wrong, I'm sure everyone will just shout in the chat. So at least I have comfort. I feel comfort knowing that that you guys are on top of things. Anyway, we've got 12 match here from ZerO after his presumably 9 drone scout. And looks like he might get an SCV. That would be quite unfortunate for HiyA. Nope, not gonna get it. Gonna force to pull 2 SCVs off the line though, so that's a little bit annoying. That's marginally unhelpful, but it doesn't really matter. In the meantime, of course, the spawning pool's on the way. It looks like the first Overlord actually stopped. If you guys look at the middle of the map, both Overlords are just kind of hanging around in the middle. So I'm not sure why the first Overlord didn't just head straight over to the thing. I'm not really sure what's going on there. It looks like it's just sitting on the line of sight blocker bridge thing. I'm not really sure why that's there. And is it protected by the line of sight blocker? I don't think it is. I'm really not sure why that's there. Well, I don't know. Maybe ZerO is just really paranoid that HiyA was going to cheese him on this map. That's why he did a really early drone scout and has actually put the Overlord, the first Overlord, in the middle. So, whoa, is that third hatchery at the bottom right? Do you guys see that? Ooh, very interesting. So, ZerO is playing a 3-hatch build, but instead of just building the third hatchery as a macro hatch on his main, he's actually put it at the bottom right base, but it's not like on the outside part of the base, it's on the inside part, so it's inaccessible by ground from the outside. You can only get to it through the back of ZerO's natural mineral line, which he will be mining out. Yeah, he's already mining that out. So you can see that he's just mined out a little gap there, so now he can send some drones over. So that hatchery should be fairly safe against any kind of early aggression from HiyA, and that's why he's doing this. Although there is obviously the possibility for Marines to shoot across the mineral lines and, you know, deny mining at that base. But I do quite like that. That's pretty cool. I'm actually not sure why we haven't seen this yet in ZVT on this map. Although I don't know if we've actually seen that many ZVTs on Mist. Anyway, looks like it was just a normal 1-Rex expand here from HiyA. Judging from the minimap, it's a follow-up. It's a 2-Rex Academy follow-up. I do see the second barracks already planted there, so Everything pretty normal. That's not normal. That is a ridiculously fast evolution chamber. Is he going lurkers instead of mutas? Is that what's going on here, or? Because I don't think, even if you're going like crazy Zerg, where you rush carapace, you still don't get the evolution chamber that fast. So that's pretty interesting. Maybe he's just gonna get some nice fast Zergling upgrades or something. No, it is gonna be lurkers. Yes, yes, excellent, excellent. Despite 3 hours of sleep, I am still capable of guessing builds correctly. Oh, fantastic. So we are actually gonna have 3 hatch lurkers here from ZerO. Now this is not a strategy you see very often at all. Like 99% of ZVTs nowadays are some form of mutalisk, either 3 hatch or 2 hatch mutalisk. Lurker openings are very, very specific, simply because Terran's medic marine control nowadays is so good that if you just use it as a general strategy, most high-level Terrans can just out-micro you and pick you apart. And especially on big open maps, it's just where the Terran has a lot of space to run around, it's not that great. Mist is kind of okay. It's not quite as open in the middle as, you know, a big map like Circuit Breaker or something like that, but oh, and also I suppose another good thing about the lurkers is, you know, you could potentially do some random lurker drops behind mineral lines and things, given the architecture of the bases, so that's quite interesting as well. Meanwhile, I got an initial poke out here from HiyA. There's 3 sunken, so I think it's quite unlikely these Marines can break it. I'm a little bit surprised ZerO doesn't have a few Zerglings hanging around just as insurance, because that could actually be slightly dangerous. If the Marines do try and break that, he will have to use his drones to block, I think. I don't think it would be safe to leave just the Sunkens, but it looks like ZerO is going to get a couple of free Marines kills here. Well, I say free, he lost a Zergling, but that's a very good exchange, obviously. And so grabbing those. Meanwhile, the Hydras are out. I'm not sure if HiyA is actually aware of what's going on just yet. Looks like he does have his comsat, so it's quite possible he scanned it. Even if he didn't see the den, if he scans now, he'll see the Hydras and the Lurkers morphing. It's actually quite funny because now, in addition to that third hatchery being placed in a fairly safe location, it's also allowing him to put that den in a hidden place. And it looks like the Marines are actually going to bust. Oh man, with the reinforcements there, this could actually just be the end of the game. Oh my god, ZerO, I think, should just abandon the natural. Okay, or not abandon it, but pull the drones, obviously, and then use the lurkers to come down here. The lurkers actually getting blocked by that fire bat, completely cock-blocked. Another problem here is that if HiyA realizes there's a base at the bottom right, he can actually kill the natural and then run Marines down. But it looks like one lurker is going to stop that, and Hero's actually, sorry, not Hero, ZerO is barely going to hold on this natural. Wow, that was very, very close. Those lurkers literally morphed, barely in time to keep ZerO alive. I really thought that could have just been the end of the game. And it looks like HiyA realizes there's some mining going on here, so he's going to send a few Marines over. As I said, you know, can't deny a little bit of mining, force the drones come off, but these Marines are just going to die in a second here, because you can see ZerO's pulling his lurker thing over. So, and notice ZerO already has plus on carapace, and there's no upgrade yet on the medic Marine. That is a very interesting state of affairs. Usually in TVZ nowadays, you know, the Terran's the one getting the faster upgrade. He often has, you know, 1-1 by the time the Zerg is, before the Zerg even has his first upgrade. But in this case, the Zerg is actually upgraded the Terran, and that's a very significant gain as well, because if you think about it, Marines do 6 base damage with no upgrades, and I guess that was kind of redundant, base damage with no upgrades, but so if you reduce that by 1, you know, that's whatever percentage that is, that's a 1/6 reduction in their damage. Was that like 16%? 16%, right? That's a lot. That is a big reduction in damage. That, though, is why you gotta be a little bit careful with Lurker Ling, you see. Ooh, actually, HiyA's micro wasn't the best there, but you see, this kind of thing, where the Marines can just run back and forth and pick off Lurkers, is exactly why Lurker Ling is not the most common opening nowadays. But you see, in this kind of area, you see, this kind of corridor is quite narrow still, even though you see ZerO's position here isn't actually that close into the natural just yet. it still kind of narrows quite quickly there, as opposed to, say, Fighting Spirit, we have to get basically right up to the natural bridges for it to be a problem for the Terran. So you see, now HiyA doesn't really have a good chance to do a really amazing spread or anything against the lurkers if he does want to micro them down, but here we go, ZerO's actually moving in here, he's not going to wait too long, wants to kind of push the Terran back, force him into as small a space as possible just to make sure there's no room to maneuver, no room to micro. But the first siege tank, along with some comsats, is going to push these lurkers back now, for the time being. I find it interesting that ZerO's actually taken the hatchery on the other side of that initial mineral line, so he's going to get the gas there as well. Actually, you know what? I was going to say, I don't know why he didn't just put that at a different base so he has even more minerals to mine, but maybe it does sort of make sense to mine out those minerals faster, because maybe if you rally the bottom right hatchery, you can get some weird pathing things with those minerals there. I'm not really sure. I don't think so, because if he's rallying to the natural, the unit should just go upwards, so it's probably fine. But maybe if later on in the game, if he wants to rally forward, the hatchery would get blocked or something like that. I don't know. I'm just kind of making things up right here, but you know, it's kind of like on Electric Circuit. Once you get to the mid-late game, you often see players killing their own backdoor just because rally points get messed up and they don't want that. Anyway, nice snipe on this dropship by ZerO, although it does unload half its cargo, so it's not a complete loss for HiyA. Meanwhile, +1 attack is now done for the Marines to counteract that +1 carapace. No, it's +2 carapace already for ZerO, and here we go, big engagement, but not much of a flank here for ZerO. He's just running straight in, and oh my goodness, that is not good for ZerO at all. Oh, could be a bit closer than I thought, but no, HiyA is going to take this first engagement, despite still being at an upgrade disadvantage. You can see the narrowness of the map is actually working both ways. So when ZerO initially had that lurker force at the front, it was kind of nice, where HiyA couldn't quite move out of his natural very easily. But now that they're on the other side of the map, the corridor means that ZerO can't really flank properly as well. But oh, nice surround with the Zerglings, very, very nice grab on those Marines. Although more Marines are coming, he needs to pull the Zerglings back a little bit. He needs to just keep them nearby the lurkers a little bit more. The Zerglings and the lurkers really work hand in hand here. So the lurkers are kind of the beefier units, but you want to keep them alive, you want to have them burrowed, obviously, underneath the Marines. And then the Zerglings are there to kind of discourage the Terran from doing the constant running and shooting tactic there. So every time he has to run away from your burrowing lurkers, your Zerglings just give chase and do a little bit of damage like that. Otherwise, the lurkers can't really get into range. And obviously, you also want to do some really nice grabs, surrounds on the Marines so they can't even move at all. You know, it looks like ZerO's actually sent a few Zerglings out to counterattack there. He does have the one hatchery at that bottom right base on the outside now that he can use to actually do some backstabbing attacks. And there's the Dark Swarm. Looks like in plenty of time for ZerO. He was under a little bit of pressure here at the front, but the tanks didn't even reach his natural sunken line there. Actually, I don't even know if he has any sunkens left after the initial break, but quite a comfortable defense here for ZerO, in fact, despite what it looked after that first lost engagement. Meanwhile, some Marines now heading down towards this fresh base at the bottom right, but ZerO's going to take care of this pretty easily. Looks like Defiler going to get irradiated. Pretty good stuff. Meanwhile, I think there is a command center being built at the top left, again, on the inside of the minerals rather than on the outside, and that's fine for Terran. That's actually better for yeah, I guess I can say it's better for Terran than it is for Zerg, because when you're going bio, it is a lot more about the minerals. Meanwhile, a bit of a sloppy control there from HiyA, just letting that vessel die, but he's gonna pull back now. He's gonna lose those two siege tanks. Not too much you can do about that. And then he's going to take care of the Lings because he's got some fire bats. Take another Scourge hit on the science vessel. It's all good. Ooh, this is a little bit unfortunate for ZerO. It looks like the rally point has made all his overlords go here. So if he does lose this engagement at the front, he could just lose all these overlords. But no, it looks like a couple of lurkers finally going to make it under the swarm, of course. You need a Dark Swarm by itself, even with just Zerglings, isn't going to do anything if there's fire bats there. They will do all their damage on the swarm. So you need a couple of lurkers there at least. But looks like, wow, some really nice multitasking here from HiyA. He's going to get some Marines over here into this base. ZerO's got a few Zerglings here, and the Sunkens are morphing, so it looks like that's going to get cleaned up. It did kill one of his gas drones, though. I really hope ZerO actually notices that and puts a guy back on gas, because he will need, you know, his 3 gases fully mining to really support the hive tech. Meanwhile, a drop here at the bottom right, and actually, it gets through despite there being Zerglings underneath, because he had 2 medics and 3 fire bats. Although it looks like, oh man, he's not quite paying attention, but I think it's gonna be enough. Oh, he's gonna micro. Yes! Oh man, the mass fire bat drop, and the 1 Marine there was actually just killing all the drones on the other side as well. So ZerO taking some pretty heavy losses, and now the 3rd base of HiyA is mining at the top right as well. Oh, the double medic, double fire bat block on the ramp. Impossible for Zerglings alone to break that. And ZerO's actually in quite a bit of trouble now in this game. HiyA is just in complete control. Oh my god, 12 kill and then 9 kill firebat. That firebat's not even going to die still. I think the medics might have slightly run out of energy. That's why the other firebat died. But it doesn't really matter. Look at that nice infrastructure going for HiyA. Playing the SK Terran style, double starport vessels, plus just pure bio. No siege tanks around. This is a hardcore way to play TVZ, the manly way to play it. Looks like a couple of lurkers finally take care of this. But that was some pretty severe damage, and now a whole bunch of units going down to the outside part of the bottom right base. I really need to think of a better way to indicate which of the hatcheries I'm talking about at the bottom right, because he's taken both sides, and so they're kind of different bases, but I have to refer to both of them as the bottom right base. I guess you know, like bottom right inside versus bottom right outside or something. Anyway, gets a bit of a plague here on these Marines, but they're still strong enough. I think we saw 2-1 upgrades on them just now, versus still 2-0 of ZerO. I'd imagine he's getting +3. Maybe not, I'm not sure. Meanwhile, we actually have some mass SCV repair on vessels. That is actually not something you see very common. It's quite interesting, because this kind of thing is something that a lot of people, you know, newer to Brood War say, you know why, or not even necessarily newer to Brood War, but you know, just in general, people on forums will be like, you know, why don't Terrans just do this kind of mass repair on plague vessels more often? Because, you know, plagues, big plays on vessels, and then, you know, 1 Muta or 1 Hydra is a pretty big problem. Or not a big problem, but it can cause some pretty big swings in TVZ. And I think the main reason is just that it's a big time investment. So you're gonna have you know, if you want to repair them at all quickly, you're gonna have to pull a decent number of SCVs off the line. And even if you do that, you still have to kind of like have your vessels sitting there and shift clicking all your SCVs through, and that's a lot of time spent where your vessels aren't actually out with your army. So I think the Terran players would just rather rely on having decent-ish control and using the Marines to keep even the plague vessels alive, and just keep the vessels with the army rather than just having them sit at home being repaired all the time. At least that's sort of my take on it. In the meantime, looks like this 1 lurker, or actually no, it looks like that's 2 lurkers stacked, since it was firing twice there. So a couple lurkers there just denying mining at that minute only. Pretty crucial actually for ZerO to get some kind of counterattack in, even a small one like this. And notice that is a very useful stack, because it's actually impossible for HiyA to irradiate both of those. So I don't know if HiyA realizes there are 2 there, but it looks like he's just leaving, but only one of those lurkers has been irradiated, I'm pretty sure. So the other one's still going to be there if he tries to start mining again. Meanwhile, a couple of dropships, looks like we're trying to poke around and do something. HiyA, meanwhile, sorry, ZerO. Oh man, I keep calling him HiyA. ZerO getting another expansion here at the bottom, excuse me, at the bottom left, and looks like, oh no, this lurker has been found out, and is gonna get taken care of. Oh god, no, no! 2 dropships worth of units getting taken down, only 2 firebats and a medic making out. That is a very expensive loss there for HiyA. I'm a little bit surprised he continued on that drop despite it being spotted by ZerO. ZerO, I gotta say, has had pretty fantastic anti-dropship defense around his main, because on this kind of map, that can be a very big problem. Your main is very, very exposed to that sort of thing. As you can see, it's just there's a lot of space along the top left that the Terran can send dropships in from. Meanwhile, looks like we have a few vultures with mines poking out right now, but otherwise still just sticking on the bio, not trying to do any kind of big mech switch. I feel like that's less, you'll see less of that on 2-player maps than you would on 4-player maps, big 4-player maps, the late game TVZ mech switch. Also, I feel like HiyA as a player, just with his really great medic marine control, doesn't need to rely on that sort of thing. He can actually just play the late game with this composition and be fine. Although he is losing a good number of vessels though. His vessel count is not very high considering he's gone for 2-port vessel here. And wow, look at these plagues all over the place, non-stop plaguing. Unfortunately for ZerO, it looks like he's probably going to lose this this bottom left new expansion. There's a few Zerglings running over there, and there's actually no medics on these Marines, and a lot of them are plagued. But I still, yeah, there's just still too many on the top of the ramp. Meantime, ooh, Mine's paying off here, grabbing a couple of lurkers, and we do see another expansion for HiyA at the top right as well, just as he kills this one from ZerO. So ZerO really needs to make something happen here. ZerO can probably, I don't know if he's gotten drop, even if he just gets slow drop, he can, you know, drop some lurkers behind that base. Maybe he's not going to bother, he's just going to send some ultralisks to take care of it. That seems like a much simpler solution than, you know, faffing around with lurker drops. Yeah, I'll just send move some ultras in, and they'll handle it, it'll be fine. They are 5-1 ultras, by the way, so they do have their max carapace bonus, while the Terran Marines, I believe, are 3-2 right now. So so maxing out the upgrades, but oh man, just as ZerO is sending his army over to the top right, he's losing this expansion at the bottom right, and I'm not sure he can really afford this one. HiyA can certainly afford losing the top right base. You know, although it looks like actually HiyA's mined out his main is natural, so if he does lose the top right base, he will be down to just the top left base mining. But if ZerO loses these two hatcheries, he's down to just his main and natural, which should be getting close to mined out, although they aren't mined out just yet. So we're actually going into a very low eco situation here, and that one firebat is freaking out on the hatchery. But yeah, this is actually, I feel like HiyA is still winning this game and in control, but there are a lot of ultralisks on the field, and with such a low income, you know, it's difficult for HiyA to actually, you know, start switching into stuff that is more useful, like, you know, a lot more, you know, more spider mines and vultures and maybe some siege tanks. But this is not a place that ZerO wants to engage. He should not be fighting here. No, go back. Come on, save your ultras. It'll be fine. Alright, yeah. Just go. There's a medic wall, man. What are you doing? Just go. Just leave. There's a medic wall. You can't do anything. Just go back. Why are you holding position? What are you doing, man? Go back. Go back, ZerO. Anyway, oh, looks like the top right base actually is just gone back to mining there. ZerO is sending some forces down to take care of it, while his ultras take care of these Marines at the bottom right. Just like 3 ultras taking out that whole group. It's just really interesting. A few Zerglings being wasted though. I don't know why there's actually no ultras over here. I could have sworn there were like 7 ultras before, and apparently they're all gone. Oh my god, GG from ZerO. His ultralisk force just completely vanished off the map. I guess he actually didn't have that many, and a bunch of them died at the bottom right. But HiyA is going to take game number 1 here in this best of 3. ZerO clearly not too happy about this. This is actually quite funny to me because in the winners interview from the round of 32, ZerO just like kept talking about how easy his opponents were, and he's like, oh yeah. Yeah, if my opponents are this easy in the round of 16, I don't even need to practice or something like that. I don't know if he was joking or just, you know, trying to because, you know, trying to make the interview more interesting or something, but it seemed a little bit cocky and arrogant and, you know, all those other synonyms of those words.